All right, it's Friday Eve and we are on. Let's just jump into it. Let's
Good
you
evening.
know let's talk about getting less and less like bedside manner ish as we do these. Um, let's talk about Delaney Hall. What's going on? Talk about what y'all know. But I'm going to play this one clip because I thought this was interesting because this is a little clash going on.
We love ICE! We love ICE!
We love ICE.
People who are going through the legal processes, taking at their routine immigration hearings, who have jobs and families, who are innocent.
What took them 20 years? How many years do they need?
So I don't know what
Did
y'all
his
think
shirt
of that.
say Persians for Trump? Did I read
That's
that?
what
I saw.
It did indeed.
All right.
I
He's
mean,
not making the Lego videos.
I'm assuming they were outnumbered, like these pro-Trumpers were outnumbered, because that's the only time I saw that. Have you guys seen this, where the Trumpers were out there counter-protesting?
I do know that there were some pro-Trump protesters that like sucker punched some people and then got away with it, didn't get arrested, and like really injured some people or hurt some people. I did hear
I
that.
assume they're always there. I thought that, I mean, it's just like anything else. It's a disease. They won't go away. I just assume that they show up to everything. I didn't know that they weren't. Like, are there things they don't show up for? Because I want to go to those.
Well, yeah, sometimes they don't show up.
Their kid's
I
birthday.
don't think that. I don't think that they're showing up for the America 250 concert because apparently nobody's showing up for that. So.
Well, no. Kid Rock and probably Fred Durst, if we're honest. Like, they're always there. So, like,
Well,
I'm
Lee
sure.
Greenwood.
And Vanilla Ice.
Oh, yeah. Vanilla Ice. No, that's what I was thinking about, too. Vanilla Ice, yeah. He will
Apparently,
not
you
say
didn't
no.
see Trump's latest.
Are we talking
tweet
about
from
the UFC thing
earlier this evening?
Sorry. No. Let's finish Delaney.
No, I mean, but it's okay.
Like, so
Okay, well, let's play this clip of I believe this is a recap of like what's up there.
Okay.
Says a group of individuals was arrested last night for breaking a curfew near an ICE detention facility that has seen days of unrest. Demonstrators clashed with police this past weekend outside the privately run Delaney Hall detention facility in Newark, seen here pushing against barricades. Federal and state officers used riot shields and tear gas to disperse the crowds. The protests were sparked by reports of poor conditions inside the 1,000-bed facility, including concerns about food quality. The wife of one detainee spoke with the NewsHour earlier today. Her face is blurred at her request.
It's not because they don't want to eat it because they don't like it. It's because it's rotten. It's because when they go downstairs to lunch, there was an incident about their beans with worms in it. In the breakfast, their milk is chewy. So how do they think they're going to be able to eat their cereal? But when they pour that milk in the cereal is expired too.
House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries and other Democratic lawmakers have called for Delaney Hall's closure over the reported conditions. In response, Department of Homeland Security posted on social media, "Everyone being held inside Delaney Hall broke the law. This is a detention center. We do not provide luxury accommodations."
I mean, first of all,
Support
let's
journalism you
remind
trust.
people that
Support PBS News.
Okay, well,
Well,
Donate.
we always
can
want to
stop.
give them their shout out. Like,
okay,
get their free
true
PBS.
that. There it is.
Yeah.
Support, and they have survived. They have survived because
Yeah.
Trump does not want them around. But I was just going to say, I think it's important to remind people that Delaney Hall is a privately run, for-profit prison, for lack of a better. I mean, it's a detention center, but I really think it's a prison, and it's and you know they're detaining bodies for profit, and I think all across the board, anytime you have detention centers, private prisons that are run like businesses that are run for profit, they're thinking of it like a business. Their profit margins, they don't care about people. They're, so the quality of food's going to suck. We talked about last week, there was a young woman who had a miscarriage. She was left to fend for herself. They did not get her emergency care. So there's nothing good that's going on in there. And I haven't seen any spokesperson for the Trump administration that has anything worthwhile to say. I don't know.
Well,
what are y'all thinking?
Let's be clear about this, right? Because the PBS report kind of portrayed this as, yeah, okay, there are some problems, but it doesn't seem like it's that big a deal. No. The food is rancid. There is a complete dearth of medical care, like you described, Chris.
Mm-hmm.
The conditions are inhumane and, frankly, may actually be criminal.
I'm sure.
I mean, it's definitely inhumane, and I think it is criminal because they're doing it intentionally. It's with mouth.
Correct.
Reminding everybody, Adam has to be very, very specific because he's a lawyer, but I'm not a lawyer, so I will say it's criminal. Okay, like I am sure of it. I just want to give him shout out. Adam has to be reasonable. I do not.
And I will second that. I mean, this is not just a prison. This is a torture mill, like a concentration camp. Okay. Yeah. There's like one doctor for 800 people. This is run by Geo Group, this particular facility. And they are for profit. They are pretty much putting people who are they are putting people who are in medical duress, who just had medical procedures, in solitary confinement. The doctors there, according to members of Congress, have said that when they went to talk to the doctors, they had no idea what medications the patients were on. They didn't know anything about what the treatment for these patients were. They had no idea what the conditions were. So there are people there that were just left in solitary confinement for days, and there's no care for them. Okay. This is being paid for with our taxpayer dollars. And a lot of these people are people who are legally here that had visas to work that they have suddenly revoked or suddenly just detained them when they're at their immigration appointments or coming out of court. So this is just the most inhumane treatment. These are mothers, grandmothers, children, their babies there. It's just repulsive. And any good person who cares about human decency would condemn this with everything that they've got, and also look into it a little bit more, because this is just, what I'm saying is just scratching the surface. It's so bad. It's so bad. People are dying in these facilities. Babies are almost dying, and then they're deporting them before they're at death's door. I mean, this is just ridiculous and despicable. And children are ending up being pregnant in these facilities. They're going in not pregnant. They're coming out pregnant because they're being attacked by guards or other inmates or something.
So wouldn't you describe this as a crime against humanity?
It could very well be.
Yes.
I would, personally.
These aren't criminals. These are not the hardened criminals that the right keeps talking about. This is not the detention center for those.
Our government is the criminals. Like
exactly. So you're taking people whose only quote crime is an immigration offense, and these are the conditions that we know of. So what's past this? So if this is what we know about, how bad is the stuff we don't know about?
And lest anybody think that this is just, the random person that they put on PBS. No. Andy Kim, the senator from New Jersey, was in Delaney Hall and saw the conditions. I mean, to me, if there are crimes, and I would sure guess that there are, I just haven't researched them myself, so I can't say that for sure, a la Casey.
Lawyers.
So that to me is a pretty damn credible source. So when Governor Mikey Sherrill tried to go in to this facility and was rebuffed, and she just kind of sat back and took it and say, well, we're going to regroup. Wait a minute. You have testimony from a senator about what's going on. If there's a crime, get a damn warrant, get a damn indictment, and force yourself on that facility. Take the cops, take the National Guard, do it, because this is not a federal facility.
And
this is a facility that is run by a private contractor.
Thank
Private
you.
contractors are possibly committing crimes in your state against a mass number of people. It is insufferable.
And
take action, please.
At bare minimum, if it's run in New Jersey, the New Jersey Board of Health is county based, and one of the major things that was brought up in the news was the health inspectors were not given access to the entire facility. If I worked in a private business in South Jersey, if we refused the health inspector to come into our business, we would immediately be shut down. That would be enough to shut us down automatically. So we're talking about a private business that is not allowing a health inspector in to do basic health inspection of a facility that is providing food. So I don't know that people know this, but it's not just like restaurants and things that have this. Any school that has a cafeteria, they have health inspectors that go in. So why is this being allowed to be any different? That is the moment that Mikey Sherrill should have said, all right, end your shutdown.
But this is it's connected. There's a through line here. So the problem that I feel like, because Melena's was talking about how egregious this behavior is, right? And how is it ongoing that we have essentially concentration camps here in the States? How is that just happening? And I think it's because people just do not believe, and I don't know why this is. People have a hard time believing that the government would really allow that to happen. Even this government, and I'm not sure why, because you have seen things, like you've seen people executed right in front of your eyes, like on mobile phones. But let's back up a bit. And it's like Mickey Sherrill is falling she's falling into that because she doesn't want to make people upset. I guess that's the problem with these weak governors that are unwilling to stand up to this administration. Is going to be a perpetual problem. But the Democrats have to find a way to step back of this and explain that this not only is our government quite capable of crimes against humanity. Not only are they very capable, but this one especially is, and that we need to shut down all of them because they're all complicit with every single one of them. All of these for-profit, they're prisons. That's what they've done. They're doing that in our prison system right now that needs reform as well, by the way, side note. And this is just an ongoing behavior. I don't understand why this is hard. I feel like everybody thinks that Congress people are criminals, and you always hear people have cynicism for Congress and members of Congress. Why don't we have cynicism around this? Why is there not the belief that this would be happening?
What makes me exhausted is that people aren't reacting enough to this. And I think it's a failure of imagination because it's this has happened before in history over and over again, where you have these tyrants that oppress people and commit these atrocities. I mean, there are congressional representatives who are going to these places. By the way, not one Republican has gone, and they just deny it. They're closing their eyes to it. But many Democratic congressional representatives have gone there. They report black molds on the shower walls. They report hair in the water, maggots in the food. This is just disgusting. And it is unbelievable that could be, we're paying for this with our tax.
The fact that they're not letting people see it, that's how you know. Look at how hard they're working to keep people out. If they're willing to mace a senator, he got some kind of tear gas or mace or whatever. If they're willing to mace or tear gas a sitting senator that's trying to prevent violence, mind you, that showed up trying to prevent that, then they're willing to do anything. And that shows that there's something behind the scenes that we can't get to, that they want to keep us from, because they know that it's wrong. And because they know if people, just like when people saw baby Liam, right, and how they were outraged by that, because people don't like you treating children that way. And so what the Republicans have done is tried to make you feel like, number one, these people are gang members and thugs. Not that you should be treating those people like this either, by the way. But they've tried to dehumanize them and minimize it and make it seem like these people deserve this kind of treatment in the first place. Then they tried to act like this is just dramatized, like this isn't actually happening. And then there are some that actually think it's fine. By the way, we should also mention that there are some Republicans that to think that this behavior is warranted for those people because they're subhuman, because these are the same people that are racist and misogynist, and they're fine with that. So I just, all of that in combination, I think, you know, the fact that they won't just let people bring cameras in at any, like somebody like the governor of the state, okay, they should be able to just show up at any point and get in. There should be transparency around that, and there isn't. And that's what happens when we let private companies and private equity take over this stuff. Thank you. That was my rant.
Did Cory Booker make it in?
I have not seen
They went in
it.
overnight. Didn't they try to show up and go in overnight?
I haven't seen the video.
There's a hunger strike there. And because of the hunger strike, these senators went there and congressional representatives. And so then what happened was ICE moved the people who were heading up these hunger strikes in the middle of the night. But one of the wives of one of the detainees said that many of the people that were involved in this hunger strike were beaten brutally, and there was blood, and they had to clean it up. Excuse me for saying that bad word. And so they're covering it up. They're hiding it. And this is going on over and over again, and not just in New Jersey, but it's also happening in California as well. And throughout the country, there are people on hunger strike. Think of that. A lot of these people are losing like 20 pounds in these facilities because the food is so bad and rotten. And then to top that off, they're going on another hunger strike, which could end their life. And so this is serious. This is very serious. And people aren't taking it seriously enough. But I hope that people will. I hope you'll talk to your friends and family about this, and you'll look into it more and find out more information. Shining a light on stuff like this is incredibly important.
Let's listen to what Newark officials, I believe this is the right video, have to say about this.
Of detainees suffering miscarriages, receiving inadequate medical care, psychological abuse is troubling.
If they don't allow us in, we, along with partners who are out here to protect the individuals inside, will join our lawsuit to seek to have along with the state health department, to have this facility shut down until it can be inspected and ensured that it is safe for the individuals who are in there.
The city of Newark has been in active litigation with the GEO Group regarding Delaney Hall. And from the beginning, we have advocated for the immediate closure of this building, Delaney Hall, due to the GEO Group's failure to comply with code ordinances, which we believe pose a serious health and safety risk. So when DHS claims that they are working with the city, and I dare to say the state, to protect Delaney Hall and support its operations, it is completely inaccurate. We have to understand that this case is against GEO. GEO is a private company who is hiding under the auspices of a contract that they have with the federal government. This is a dispute about human lives, about people and the way they're being treated, whether they're detainees or not. We have a constitution in this country. We have basic human rights that we follow.
Yeah, I mean, I think that pretty much says what we've been saying, right? I mean,
right.
Yeah. So, okay, let's talk about the UFC situation where the White House lawn is no more. I've had a couple of people say that this picture on the right is AI, but I've seen so many different angles of that. Is it really AI? I don't know. Does anybody know?
I think that one is.
We're going to know soon because
we are.
Did you guys hear that Trump bought stock in UFC's parent company?
Yeah,
before doing this?
I did.
Yeah. So,
I did.
Of course
I
he
did.
did.
I of course. And by the way, I forgot to edit it, but I did make a video on this and I'll post it. And it's a part of my new series, which is things I shouldn't have to endure while dealing with perimenopause. And this is one of those things because I live here. And when I saw the sign that said that he's thinking about making this a permanent installation, I was like, I will be there and tear it down with my whole fucking bare hands. Like, I'm not going to live with this. We already have discussed on this program specifically all of the gross other things that he's done, like, you know, the ugly outlet mall food court that is now the Rose Garden and all the different things that he's ruined. because he has terrible taste. And this is exactly the same. Here we are with some.
We have a short clip. We have a short clip
Oh, yeah.
of him saying
Please.
that bullshit.
Please share that.
France, the Eiffel Tower, 1889 it was built. It was supposed to be taken down immediately after the World.
I think that message is for you, Casey, because people in France didn't like the Eiffel Tower. They thought it was an awful structure, and they wanted to tear it down. So he's trying to say, look, give it a chance.
He's trying.
He's saying a historically accurate
let's
fact.
leave it up a little bit longer. And then they said, let's leave it up longer and longer and longer. Well, they never took it down. And, we're building something in front of the White House that's quite attractive to a lot of people. It's going to have the big UFC fight on June 14th. And I'm looking at it, and maybe we'll never, ever take it down.
I saw somebody say it's the spider contraption from the Wild Wild West movie.
Yes. Oh my God, that too. That's it.
You guys, there's going to be so much work to restore DC out of its funhouse stage or whatever the hell he's doing.
But listen, the reason he's saying
Get rid of
this-
that picture, Chris. I'm begging you. Get rid of that picture.
Please. Put the other one on. The reason he's saying this, everybody watch, because we talked about this with every other project, every other vanity project. Initially, it was said that the organizers of this event were going to pay for the installation, but they were also going to pay to take it down. They're going to pay to take it down and to restore, which was going to cost at least $60 million or I don't know, whatever. Well, now he's saying we might just leave it up. And you know what that means? That means because he's not going to have the money, or he wants to use that money for something else, whatever, right? That money, whether it comes from the businesses or the tax, but what he's trying to make you feel, he's trying to keep it there so that he doesn't have to show and expose the fact that he doesn't have the money for this unless he dips into taxpayer dollars, which is what they promised they weren't going to do. And by the way, once again, Republicans are the least responsible economically and financially of any. I would give money to my child and expect her to do better with it than I would the Republicans. I swear to God. So we need to stop giving them any kind of deference when it comes to that. This man is taking all of our money and giving it to his friends, and he's manipulating markets, and now we're gonna have to stare at this ugly thing too. That's too much.
Okay, so this is a little kind of the story here of what's up.
And of course, there's potential financial benefit for Donald Trump in this story and in this instance as well to tell you about. HuffPost reported that Trump purchased somewhere between $15,000 and $50,000 worth of stock in TKO Holdings. That's the parent company that owns the UFC. Trump purchased the stock as he was actively promoting the UFC event at the White House.
I mean, when is this supposed to be on anyway? When is this UFC fight? Is it one fight, or are they doing this?
Is this for his birthday? Is this
I think the whole thing?
It's supposed to be for his birthday.
And the
it is his
weigh-in
birthday
at
party.
the Lincoln Memorial.
But if it's on his birthday, I got a text today that they're actually having a No Kings rally downtown at the same time. That's kind of blowing my mind.
What's so
That it
sad,
rains a
what's so
lot.
sad
Like,
about
I
all
hope.
this is that can you imagine if the 250th anniversary had happened during Barack Obama's presidency, and how different this would be? And how I saw a video today that was talking about someone reminiscing about the bicentennial in 1976. And I was born in 1977, so I do not remember it. But saying how
you
look, whatever. But point being that we've spoken before about how we feel like we've had 10 years robbed from us. And this is yet one more example of something where we should be able to enjoy this. We should be looking forward to July 4th this year. We should be looking forward to celebrating with family and friends and going to parties and cookouts and picnics and just having a good time and celebrating the good that we've done as a country. And instead, we're in this dumpster fire. And that to me was so poignant. It was so depressing to listen to this man speak about his reminiscing about being a child during the bicentennial and how magical that was, and comparing it to this, where I don't want to celebrate the 4th of July at all this year, let alone the 250th.
I'm right there with you.
It's done. It's done.
Yeah.
And I had a big crash out when she lost. I had already thought about this going in, right? Like I was like, oh my God, wait, because it's in the middle of the next president's tenure that we have to celebrate this. And so it was a couple days after, right? We were all numb or whatever. And it was like that first wave of acceptance. And then I had the reminder, like I was driving by like the Capitol or, like the basin, and I was like, oh no. And then I realized, and I was like, no, because I had warned everybody. And I did a video on this very specifically. I was like, he's going to plan all of these events. He's the one. And so I don't think I realized how much of it was going to be increasing his portfolio, his financial portfolio. I just thought it was going to be ugly stuff. But now, not only that, like it's going to be him making money off of it. And then it's with these like semi-permanent structures, or I don't know, y'all should see how bad it is. Jessica Cravens posted a couple videos on this too. But I want to say that as somebody who lives here, it is really sad. I know y'all are going to think this is like not that big of a deal, which it isn't, I guess, in the grand scheme of things, but the people who visit this city that come maybe once in a lifetime to bring their kids to the Capitol and see what government's like have shown up, and they want to get the shot of like the Lincoln Memorial, and they want to get like these really important things that exist here, and they can't because it's gross. It's like under construction unnecessarily, and it's ugly, and it's just everything about it is ruined because this man is here and in control, and we knew that this was going to happen, but it's sad for everybody because they're losing out too.
And what Trump is doing is trying to install fake history. We don't, this is a fairly young country. I know we're celebrating 250, but in the scheme of things, worldwide, it's a fairly young country. And so the history in DC that we do have, the real history, the White House, East Wing, the West Wing, all of that. We don't need the Arc de Trump. You know what I mean? Like this is not adding anything to.
It's adding traffic. It's adding traffic. I so promise
and
you it's going to be more
obstructing
traffic.
the Arlington cemetery.
Yes. Yeah, they're suing. The suing.
Here's a good example of what I mean by fake history.
The tallest buildings in the world, including the Empire State Building, World Trade Center, Sears Tower, Chicago. So if you lay it on its side, you take 2 or 3 of them to fill it in, because the width is almost 200 feet wide. And actually much more than 2,000, close to, including everything, it's about 2,500 feet in length to the end. And it's going to be beautiful.
That's a waste of time.
He's acting like he built the damn thing, like he built the reflecting pool. But these are some real folks visiting. Listen to what they say.
Tax dollars. People are struggling to pay for gas and groceries, and you guys are fixing something that didn't need to be fixed.
Yeah, I think it's a waste of money.
What do you think projects like this, the ARC he wants to build in Virginia, the UFC arena, say about his priorities at the moment?
I'm against all of them, especially the White House.
Last time I was here, I was able to walk right next to the reflecting pool, and it brought a huge sense of gratitude for our, and my patriotism for our country. And seeing it today, I was shocked because this is not the America we know.
I mean, I think those were good interviews because, I mean, these are people that were expecting to see a reflecting pool and got like, I don't know what they got. Well, so did you hear? So they are. I just saw a news segment that they are now filling the pool, the reflecting pool. So we will see. It looks gray now, but when they fill it with water, I will say it's going to look blue. I don't know about flag blue. It will look blue because you get the reflection of the sky. That's how pools work. They, the color that you see when it's dry is not the color you see when it's wet and full of water. That said, I keep saying this, it is going to not look blue in a couple of weeks. It's going to be green.
It's going to be green.
It's going to be green. Yep. So good luck. Good luck, Trump. And who's he going to blame for that one?
Even that presentation.
Obama? Hunter Biden's laptop? Hunter Biden's laptop?
Giving like the middle school kid whose mom did his science fair project and he's trying to present it and he has no idea what he's talking about.
It's the kids that never read the book that tried to convince me in an essay that they read the book. That's exactly what it sounds like. Yeah.
It's just so ridiculously embarrassing that even happened.
Yeah,
I mean, like what the fact that they actually put effort into this graphic for what purpose? To prove that he's doing something amazing. He put blue coating, overpriced coating, no bid contract, and we are paying for it. This is not something to like boast about. Like he should have just, he's already done it. You know, these people are getting paid or whatever. He shouldn't talk about it anymore. Honestly, it's insulting to us.
I mean, who cares if it's bigger than the Sears Tower?
It's also the
Gives
Willis
a
Tower,
rat's
by the way.
ass.
People don't.
It was
right.
It was commissioned under Woodrow Wilson.
That by the way,
has
Chris
nothing to do with
Q, that's what a guy that was born early enough to remember the bicentennial calls it.
I wasn't there either, but
for food, gas, healthcare, and this guy is holding up a poster of what it's like we stepped into a Stephen King horror book.
It really is.
Middle of it every day. And
I mean, and with
afford it.
People, and just think about the cost of the Kinkos, the staple Kinkos printing that went into that too. Like I'm a teacher, so every time they hold up these things, I'm like, oh my god, the ink alone, like the budget for these things is so unnecessary. We can't, absolutely not. Well, and also, like, what is the point of it, right? Like other people wouldn't need that, but because they wouldn't need it because it would have gone through congressional like routes and it would have been approved, and there would be no need to go to your fake press corps and try to sell a story that doesn't need to be sold because everybody would have been already behind it. But this man's out here trying to convince you of things and grift you on things so that you'll look the other way while he steals everything we have. Oh my god, there's not going to be anything left. It's going to be all ugly fake portables. That's what the whole country is.
I just keep thinking that, like, if Putin conquered us, could he have done more harm than this guy is doing? It's like he's destroying the White House. He's destroying our nation's capital. He's destroying our healthcare system. He's destroying peace in the country. He's got political prisoners and people who are in internment camps. I mean, I can't imagine anyone doing more harm to this country than Donald Trump. I mean, I really can't. And people are like exalting him, like his followers, although he's losing followers by like massively. But there are some people that just think he's their god. It's insanity. I can't imagine anybody watching this guy half falling asleep, passing gas, and people are practically passing out as this is happening on live TV for everyone to see and going, I love that man. Like, who are these people? Like,
victims of lead poisoning, Milena. We talked about this last week. Victims of lead poisoning. I
don't know, or inbreeding. Their parents are also cousins.
That too.
And Marco Rubio. But you guys are you guys are not giving credit where credit is due, because there has been clear improvement over the first Trump term, because this time when he had the poster up, he did not use the Sharpie. So we have made America great again.
And unlike the Bible, he held it right side up.
There you go. See, come on, guys. It's not all bad.
Progress.
Oh,
Casey,
boy.
you might know the answer to this. What building is the Trump banner on with his face? Department of Labor?
I think so. I think that's right.
I thought it was DOJ.
It might be on more than one building.
Justice Department.
Because I thought it was also, wasn't it on the Institutes for Peace? Like, if I didn't
I
put
have
his
to
face
say
there
that
too.
was the most insulting, terrifying thing I
North
ever
Korea.
Right side,
Jump-
at least it's
jump
easy
scare.
to remove. That's easy to remove.
Yeah,
This
but
other
again, how much were those? How much did those cost?
But
oh my god!
What a mind play. wouldn't mind
Yeah.
play that
Yeah.
is on people that want human rights and democracy and healthcare and gasoline. What, yeah. Ugh.
Well, you're right, because this is not a subtle takeover. There are people, well, it is a subtle takeover, but I'm saying he's not subtle, but the people behind the scenes that are pulling his puppet strings, they are well versed in what happened in Germany and other places where we've seen this, so that they are absolutely implementing things that we would see in authoritarian regimes, because they're students of that, right? Like they're students of government, and like a Russell Vogt, for instance, it knows that. And so these people are in his ear, and they're hyping him up, and they're using all of his narcissistic tendencies to implement these things, because this is a man who loves himself and wants to be loved and wants history to love him. So what better way than to put your face on a $250 bill? Then what better way than to construct this monument, right? They're telling him this, and he's the one delivering the news. But don't, just because he's ridiculous and a clown, don't think that Susan's not right and there isn't this like really nefarious thing happening. It absolutely is. These are the people doing it behind the scenes. So that's gross. And I agree with you, Susan, like that whenever you see that jump scare, it's like, yeah, it's ridiculous, but it's also that deeper level of, wow, this is actually, they're really trying to take over our government, like in front of us, like while we're watching and paying attention. It's wild.
All right. Well,
all right, that was
let's
downer.
move on to
I
something.
really just sucked all the air out of
Let's
that.
move on to something serious. Well, that was serious, but like darker serious. I'm gonna read something to you guys. So there is a candidate who has sexually explicit online activity, allegations of sending sexually explicit messages to multiple women while married, offensive and bigoted comments, victim blaming remarks about sexual assault, racial stereotypes, posts, homophobic slurs, associations with extremist and anti-Semitic figures, repeated use of inflammatory rhetoric, allegations of campaign intimidation, criticisms over a disconnect between his working class message and his reliance on veterans' disability benefits, a Nazi tattoo that many voters find disqualifying on its own. And I'm not talking about Eric Swalwell. People did not learn our lesson. In California, we just had an election. We were fortunate enough that the goods came out on Eric Swalwell when we had a chance to do something. I'm talking about Plattner here, okay? And he's sorry for all these things. He keeps saying he's sorry, and it's just, at what point does he lose any credibility? And people are still carrying his water. I don't get it. But I think at this point, the ship has sailed. He's going to be the nominee, even though Mills is still on the ballot. And there are others. My big thing about this, like we know all this, right? When the Nazi tattoo came out, there was time. They could have found someone else, just like we did with Swalwell. Okay, so like you want to compare distance? When
they had more time than you.
Yeah, they had more time. There were other progressive candidates also. So these people who are saying, "Oh, he was the progressive. We want progressive." No, there were other ones without this problematic background. And so, to me, this is a bigger conversation as Democrats. It's not like at this point like a circular firing squad. It's like learn the lesson here. We're going to go after, like right now, Ken Paxton in Texas with his sordid background. Where's the moral high ground here? And I'm not talking about a purity test. Please do not misunderstand me, folks watching, tuning in. I'm not talking about you have to be the perfect candidate. I don't have a red line, but I think decency should be kind of all of our red lines when we're talking about a candidate. We're not talking about a sitting, senator who we can't lose the seat. We don't have this seat, and this is the guy we're going to try and get the seat for. I'm not, as Michelle says here, Mills and Costello has a very formidable qualification list. In fact, I probably have it here somewhere. Here we go. What are we doing? What are we doing as a party?
Somebody posted today that they've changed their stance on the main primary, and that their position is that they just wanted to get the fuck over with. They're so exhausted. And that is exactly my feeling about this at this point. Like, what a cluster this is. Because I just made a very generic statement today on my social, which is essentially like, I'm going to do opposition work against Susan Collins until the day she dies. So you've got me on that. But like, I really hope that you, the state of Maine, learn something from this, because there's a lot that we need to discuss about the way that this went wrong. And the amount of people from the backwoods of Maine who came for me. Like, I yelled at Chris about it. I went and just said, like, I'm so sorry. I put the most responsible, restrained post by the way. Very restrained of me was that. And the people came left and right, and I was like, now I'm gonna make a post. Now I'm gonna really make a post in a video, because y'all are letting a guy just come in here that had the biggest of red flags all over the place. Like that, by the way, one of those red flags would have in previous years excluded somebody from politics.
Yep.
Like that might be a career ender, by
I
the way.
mean,
Not just in an election.
It should have been a career ender. You know how pissed there are people. Okay, first of all, I want to make sure that everybody knows this. 88% of Jewish women voted for Kamala Harris. The Jewish population is a Democratic population overwhelmingly, just like the Black population, okay? And how incredibly despicable and disrespectful is this guy's got a freaking Nazi tattoo and he's not immediately out. Now, if this was a Republican, you'd be like, he's a Nazi. He's like absolutely the worst. But this guy, they're like, oh, he's a progressive. It was a mistake. He didn't know. They're excusing it left and right. And every other thing that he said.
The reason, I mean, tell me if I'm wrong. I know why Black folks vote Democrat, and I'm gonna say our Jewish brothers and sisters do the same thing, because we are voting for our survival. It is not about like, oh, he did this one little thing. This is a fucking laundry list. And the fact that he's putting out, messages about like women deserving to be raped, or, and he has a Nazi tattoo and he's acting like, first of all, take responsibility for your Nazi tattoo. If it is what it is, just
that's the problem. That's exactly the problem. So look at what Hunter Biden is doing right now with his messaging, where he's talking about like how he smoked crack and like how he's a drug addict and how he's like in recovery and like all of these things, right? He's like owning his problematic past in a way that's like, you can see the arc. You can see the arc of change. I don't see that with this man. I see a man that was still engaging in problematic behavior 2 years ago, and it's like he's just upset that it came to light, right? Like, and it's just a trust me, bro. You don't get PTSD doesn't make you a Nazi sympathizer. I'm not even sorry to say that. Like, it's just the reality.
It's true.
That's
So
right.
annoyed.
And the fact that he has never changed it or done anything to it
Until
makes
now. I
people
guess
believe-
didn't he change it now?
Covered it
Like,
up.
just-
I'm not sure about that, because the picture I saw, it looked like a fake tattoo cover up. I don't know.
Susan's
Like,
right. He didn't do enough in the
He
past.
didn't
Like,
do
when he didn't do
anything.
enough.
He-
Yeah.
And he didn't do anything recently to make up for any of the bad things that he said or done. Like, there's some people that go, okay, like, look, I did all this bad, but now I'm trying to make up for some of that harm. But he didn't own it, and he only like excused it away in the campaign. And there were a lot of people who went to his side even after the Nazi tattoo and made excuses for it. And we're talking about
entitlement.
senators like Chris Murphy. That was like really, really offensive to me and hurtful to me.
Yeah.
And it is time that the Democratic Party go, okay, look, the people who prop us up the most, the people who are our base, we should have respect for them. We should have respect for the Black community, for the
Yes.
Jewish community, for women. And when we have these bad actors go, okay, well, it's time to find another candidate. That's what we did in California. We're like, okay, this guy is a total predator, allegedly.
Yes.
Adam, I'm saying that for you. And we're not going to support this guy. Okay. We're going to go with someone else. And so we did the work. We looked into the candidates and we said, okay, who's the best of all these people? Maine, come on, get your act together.
It's a
Melinda
lot.
and I,
It's a lot.
Melinda
to
and
see
I
from a
were
white-
DMing
a
each
white
other
man.
when we were hearing about Swalwell. We're like, okay, Swalwell. I'm gonna admit, sorry, Melinda, if I'm putting you in a position.
No,
we
that's
were
fine.
we were leaning towards Swalwell, but we were like, okay, Becerra is my backup. I do like him. And our concern at that time was he wasn't breaking out of the 5% range, so it was like the viability wasn't there. And then when Swalwell, it was actually before he dropped Molina that weekend when, it was just like, okay, this is just, in fact, a lot of us, we actually got on a call and we're like, what are we going to do? And we went for Becerra, and that we researched him, and we're like, you know what, this guy is our guy, and so it doesn't take a lot. You have to figure, there are other candidates in Maine. If they had done this sooner, personally, I think it's too late, but I don't think we should be silenced. I don't think that marginalized communities should be made to feel like, oh, this is Maine's business, not yours. It is our business because
It's all
he's
of
going
our
to be
business.
a U.S. senator with bigoted views, and I'm not down for it. So I'm going to speak.
Every single Senate election is our business right now. And I had to tell somebody that from Maine today, very specifically. And I think that this just goes along with what Bernie Sanders has done, which is what the white men, white women to some extent too, but like very specifically white men have done historically and continue to do even in the Democratic Party, which is I believe in something good. And so it's okay that what I'm doing is harming the rest of you. It's okay. I'm going to dismiss your feelings and I'm going to dismiss what this is going to do to you because I'm going to steamroll forward and do what I think is best. And that's what Bernie Sanders has done. He's like, just see my vision. And he cost us. He's one of the reasons, not the only reason, but he is absolutely a contributing factor to why Hillary Clinton lost. You're never going to convince me otherwise, right? He could have helped with that. There are many other things. It doesn't matter if he's done good. He's also doing harm. And that's the problem, is that in this situation, Graham Plattner is acting like a very entitled white man. And it needs to be addressed and it needs to be discussed because some of the most loyal people in our voting bloc are not white men. And so why are you giving all of this credence and all of this loyalty and patience for errors to white men who are not even the ones that are the most consistent voting?
They haven't voted for Democrats in over 50 years.
Yeah.
So this post, it says Senator Bernie Sanders, the one that's on the screen. Senator Bernie Sanders was non-committal when asked by a Washington Examiner reporter if there was a concern about sexual assault allegations that could come out against Bernie Plattner, and he says, why don't we examine income and wealth inequality? Teresa here says because he was endorsed by Bernie. That is 100% true. Like people on the far left, I'm a progressive, I'm not a Bernie bro or supporter or anything. They take his word as Bible. Does anyone think if a woman had this problematic background, or even worse, a person of color, they would be getting this kind of support from Bernie or anyone else in the party? They would not. They would have been shown the door.
I think this speaks to a large structural problem within the Democratic Party because it never should have gotten to this point. I think that possibly 2016 and Hillary and Bernie and the allegation that a thumb was put on the scale for Hillary Clinton, maybe that made people in the upper echelons of the Democratic Party back away. But this is where you want a cigar-filled back room to sort this out in private before it ever gets to this point. Because the Senate seat in Maine against Susan Collins should have been a layup. That should have been one that was in the bag. If you had a remotely competent, non-problematic candidate, we would not be focused on Maine. And the larger problem with the whole Senate is now that diverts resources. Now, instead of worrying about trying to focus on Texas and making sure that Talarico is a lock, now we've got to worry about Maine, which should not be an issue. And this is where the entire party needs to vet these candidates way earlier, and there needs to be a stronger central body within the Democratic Party that takes these people out before they get to this point.
People need to lose their jobs if they didn't vet a candidate for U.S. Senate. And Casey, to your earlier point, damn it, I forget what it was. But I just don't think.
Whatever it was, you were right.
Entitled white men, because I like to talk about that. What do you?
That's not what I was going to say. But as far as Chris, you were saying about the cigar-filled back room.
Yeah.
They tried to do that this week, and I don't think it went that well.
Well, I think the part of the problem is that they didn't secure a candidate, but also that they allowed the online campaign, which we've seen like the groups like Track APAC and some of the quote leftist groups that are kind of taking over the progressive or they're the loudest. They're kind of like the Tea Partiers or like the MAGA of the Republican Party. They don't represent the real interests of people that are actually true progressives, because true progressives know that you have to work with the system to try to overhaul it. And they were the ones loudly proclaiming this man because they were like, we can't have another old person. We can't have another old establishment. And like, granted, valid, I get it. Like, listen, babe, I so feel you and understand your pain, but that doesn't mean you just grab somebody off the street and go here. Like, and that's really what they did with this. They're like, oh, the first guy that kind of looked like he might be.
He was a harbor master.
He doesn't even have like
master. What qualifications for the Senate does a harbor master have?
So
I mean, he can fix
it's
boats.
If it's not the desperation of the establishment, it's the desperation of the left. Like, we want progressive people. And it's like, if everybody could just stop and chill out and step back and like work together. But as to Chris's point, that requires a governing body that's thinking ahead and pulling the strings ahead of time so that they present you with this a year in advance. Like, right? Like what they did with Virginia, with Governor Abigail Spanberger. Like, I know she's not the most popular, but again, we had a lot to deal with here. And so she was a victory for us in a lot of respects, but her name was out there like 2 years in advance. Like, when I tell you that she was just out there like, I am running, and everybody was like, yeah. So by the time the primary came, there was no primary because everybody had already said, and she was running months before Winsome Earl-Sears was, because they were still fighting it out in the Republican primary where the Democrats were just sitting back like, this is our girl, we got her. Like, and that was partially also why she won. In addition to the fact that Winsome Earl-Sears was nuts. But I'm saying that Chris's point is so key here. Chris Quinn is right. We lack that unity. We lack that. It's not just a person. It's a body. It's an organ. Like, we don't have that. Is that money? Maybe. Is it just this false belief that because we are working towards like the good of democracy and the people in it, that somehow we're going to magically pick the right people? I don't know, but for whatever reason, we seem to feel like we don't have to plan. To the point of everybody else that's yelling right now back at home that might be watching this, or just hypothetically, I get it. That like, I know that that's maybe not their job and that's not what's supposed to, I'm just saying it needs to be. Okay, I'm saying it needs to be that. It needs to be that. The Republicans have managed to do that. They find people like Marjorie Taylor Greene and Lauren Boebert and give them binders full of things, and they give them their managers and they say, here's some money, go run and win this election, and here's how you do it. And then they do, and they win elections. And the Democrats don't have that.
And here's another thing, though. Voters also need to take some responsibility, because 100%. These voters just believe, like, for example, what we had in California, they just believe whatever is being told to them again and again in these ads, or with the, like, some of these leftists and stuff like that. And they don't do any kind of research on their own to look at someone's background, to look at someone's record. And they make it seem like if you have a record, if you've been elected before, well, then you're the establishment. Well, don't you want someone with experience who knows what they're doing? Or do you just want some guy off the street who's got an opinion like Trump, who thinks that they can snap their fingers and make things happen, and don't really have one effing clue how government works or what their role should be and could be? And like, I don't know if you saw the article that came out today in the New York Times about Plattner and his history with women and dating and what these women said about him, but repulsive. And don't you think that Susan Collins' campaign is going to use that against him? It's going to be every other commercial.
That's what I was
it's going to be a nightmare.
We're not talking about, like Casey was talking about, oh, I'm going to go after Susan Collins. Is anyone going to hear you when everybody's talking about this guy with I mean, you don't think she's got a ton of oppo? She does. So she's a seasoned politician. I'm not riding for Susan Collins, so make no mistake. But be prepared for what is coming.
They're ready. They're ready for him. This is just the beginning. And to Melina's point, I'd say Spencer Pratt shows that you're correct about what you just said about the voters and the accountability, because like he's doing Trump's playbook. So I'm just saying, like, it's the same thing. We're seeing the same thing over and over. So like the Plattner thing is just, it's gonna keep repeating over and over if people can't find a way.
Man, do something
Maine,
now.
get it
I mean,
together.
you
Get it
have
together.
5 days. Get it together.
Folks. The
Oh,
other
no.
candidates had their opportunities to get rid of Plattner. They couldn't. Whether you like it or not,
They didn't
he's
want
going
to.
be the nominee.
They didn't want
And they're right, exactly right. They didn't want to. And I think that it is exactly the low information voters that Milena is talking about, which are going to be the reason why, and I'm going to say it now, I think he's going to win. I think he's going to be the next senator from Maine because I think that they dislike Susan Collins that much.
We will follow up on this.
I hope
because
you're right. I hope you're right. I do. I hope you're right, and I hope it's not. But I think it's the.
I just hope it's not a disaster.
The reason we need to talk
I
about
don't
it is
see any
because
reason why he's going to get better.
of what Chris had said, Chris Quinn is saying about the fact that this is a drain on our resources. This is going to be a drain on our resources. This is unnecessary. This is unnecessary division, unnecessary conflict. This shouldn't have happened in the first place. This willingness to overlook racism and misogyny is unacceptable in any party, but especially the Democratic Party, especially with progressives. Like I will have no tolerance for it going forward towards the midterms. So like once we're out of this primary season, you better believe like I'm just saying like get it to. This needs to be, I accept what's happening, sort of, but I'm just telling you, we're not going to do this again, Maine. So like, this is
Plattner's candidacy may very well be the reason why Josh Turek, who is an excellent candidate out in Iowa, can't win an open seat that Joni Ernst gifted away.
I'm going to be working my ass off for him, and I'm not going to do jack shit for this guy. Like, I don't know if you guys read this article, but he's like, on the verge of being abusive, if not outright abusive to his girlfriends and to women. That's BS. Anybody who supports that, they're effed in the head. If that guy is like pushing around women, grabbing women and stuff, and you want this effort for your senator, I'm sorry, but I am not lifting one effing finger for this racist, misogynistic, anti-Semitic, women abusing piece of garbage. Personally, that's my feeling. I won't have anything to do with it.
I'm with you. I just don't think. I think people, Maine, do Maine. Y'all do what you want to do.
That's what I said. Do what you're gonna do.
And I think people that support Maine, do you? But I don't think you can fault people like Milena or myself and others who are like, this isn't the guy. So I'm not going to just fall in line because we're hoping he's the next Senate seat.
But that's fine because there's
better from the get-go. My whole point is pick a candidate without these red flags. Vet your candidate. I'm sure they vetted this guy.
Pick one without a Nazi
tattoo. His wife went to the campaign and said he's sexting women. So listen to this. This was after the meeting they had with senators.
Plattner drop out of the Maine.
Oh, P. Hustle. Yeah, he's around. Apparently, we didn't match up on Kick. So we're not. I guess we're not going to meet with them on that.
You're not meeting with them.
Like what kind of a creeper has been on a decade on a platform like Kick and send a dozen explicit kinds of messages and who knows what else. The thing he has going for him is the long. It's so long you lose count of all the things. It's every other day there's a new one.
Should he drop out?
That's up to Pennsylvania. I mean, that's up to Maine. I'm Pennsylvania, so but that's here we are. And
where are you, dude?
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so
deep thoughts from John.
Watch this.
Graham, how old were the girls?
What did you tell them?
That's the kind of question he's getting. How old were the girls? That's crazy.
I think it's good that we have a lot of other campaigns to focus on.
Grant Plattner, why were you on a kid's
Do you
sex
believe you
act?
deserve to represent Maine?
Do you have no shame?
Are there more shoes to drop in your past?
Oh my God.
Oh boy.
This
Maybe
is
you
gonna
won't
be...
win.
Grant, are you going to stay in the race, sir? Are you going to stay in the race?
What did you tell them?
What did you tell them, sir? What did you tell them?
What did you tell them?
All right, don't get into that. Don't get into that.
You have 5 days to fix this, man. 5 days. Get going.
And two.
Well, you're
Sir,
going
what
to
did
get
you tell
5 more
the
months of that. You're going to get 5 more months of that and worse.
He
So
could have
he's
made.
on defense 100%. He's going to need to be on offense for Maine, right?
He can have made these mistakes when he was younger. He can have changed as a person. He can be a new person now. He can have a great relationship with his wife now. He can work really hard now and honestly be a good person and have those bad things in his past. But he also doesn't have to be a senator.
Right.
You know, both those things can be true. Of all the people that live in Maine, you're telling me that this is the best you have. That's ridiculous.
Let's just pick at one of these candidates and like one of these other candidates like Costello and just like go all in and just like blitz social media. Maybe we can make a difference. I don't know.
And this guy gets it.
I'm not Maine, so I feel a little rude doing it, but geez.
They're gonna, let me tell you how much they're gonna remind you of that. Like I finally I said, I have stake in this also. Like I have a background, I went to school for this. So like, I am just telling you that this is a problem with the part. Like I was trying to call out to the pattern of behavior, like that Chris Webb and Chris Quinn were talking about, and just saying that this is now going to be a problem that didn't need to happen, right? And they just came for me. So I'm just warning you, like they are not willing. They're not willing to be
but there is ultimately there's one person that can fix this. He can fix it.
Him. That's 100%
because if
right.
he were to drop out, problem solved. Because then you get
he were. Yeah, go on.
You at least get a fresh slate with whomever ends up coming for that. And after I thought about this earlier today, when the New York Times article came out, I thought, well, there has to be a mechanism, right? So say someone were to pass away. This has happened before. You know, it's not out of the realm of possibility that something would happen between a primary and a general election where you lose somebody.
Yeah.
So we're even before the primary. So if he drops out right now, he solves this issue, but that's not going to happen. So
you're 100% right.
We're going to have to deal with it.
I've been thinking about that too, because I was saying how even if he had some sort of like, you know how the celebrities do it, where they're like, I'm going to go to rehab and think about my life, you know, that kind of thing, where even if he wanted to have a career in future and he said, I'm going to come back 2 years strong and like, you know, whatever, like there's a way he could do that. And by the way, he could have done that months ago and he actually might be ready to run now, right? Like he could have, I'm not saying he's a good guy. I'm not saying anything. I did read the article and I didn't think it was as bad as people were hyping it up to be, but I do think it lives up to the expectations of the title of the article. So if you read the title, that I think it's very honest in terms of what it covers, because there's different accounts from different women and how they feel. But to me, I feel like it doesn't appear, at least from me, a bystander. And I know I'm not in Maine, but again, like this should be evident online, because you should be able to see this kind of a footprint of somebody who makes changes, who has had PTSD, who has him just confessing in an interview isn't enough. There needs to be a whole PR campaign around how you've changed, around how you've learned this, and this. None of that. Does anybody seen that with this guy? Like other than just some interviews about him saying he was sorry and that he was horrified.
Yeah, he just says, I'm sorry. No.
Okay.
Well, with the tattoo, he says, I didn't know what it was.
That's an excuse.
How do you go to a tattoo
That's not an apology.
And get a Nazi symbol? It's a symbol of hate and evil, and he knew exactly what it was.
But let's just pretend
his girlfriends say he knew what it was. His ex-girlfriends say that, at least.
But if you didn't, why wouldn't you just immediately get it fixed? Like if I didn't know that I had, like, say I had something and I didn't realize, do you know the moment that somebody pointed that out? As an autistic, there are times I do miss things and I am horrified by it, and I would immediately run to have that thing lasered off, and then I would be donating to all of these Jewish charities, and I would be doing everything to try to amend for that, because I would feel so terrible. And I don't see that from him. He has a lot of entitlement because, again, he feels like what he's doing is right, and therefore it's okay that he's this flawed person that has fucked around and hurt people. That's a problem, and politicians can't be like that. Politicians are people that are representing our interests. They can't just believe that our interests don't matter, or like can be backburnered if they believe that they know better. I mean, I guess technically that's sort of what the Senate was about.
And neither should the party. To Melinda's point, the party shouldn't just kick us to the curb. You know, like, I mean, what are you doing?
This is a cluster. And by the way, I'm looking online right now and it's just getting worse. So this is tomorrow. This is going to be, I suspect, unless something else happens and we take over another country tomorrow, which that could be the case. This is probably going to be like a big topic of
when women come out, like he's like apparently grabbed women and pushed them and locked them in a room or whatever. But when women come out, that's what was allegedly. When women come out with these stories, then other women go, "Oh yeah, well wait till you hear what he did to me," because usually it's a pattern of behavior. And so when people do this, if they did this, there's probably other women who haven't spoken up about things.
And let's go there. Let's talk about the fact that the Senate is very much they're not a transparent body compared to the House. And if you are a staffer, let's just say he's senator, and you are a staffer working for him, he is self-policing. In other words, if you have an allegation, sorry, he's going to be self-policing. And what's going to happen? So, we talked about the open secret of Swalwell. Good luck with this dude.
This is the problem that I'm seeing, and I don't like it when it comes from women, especially the apologies for some of this that are, well, Bill Clinton got a blowjob while he was in the office. Well, Donald Trump has done this.
How about let's do better?
But here's the thing, there's a lot about Bill Clinton that he couldn't get done because of that. There's a lot about his reputation and what there's a reason Gore didn't win. And that's part of the problem is that he was hitched up to Bill Clinton and there was all that controversy and that changed our entire nation's history. And look at where we are. So, just because it doesn't seem like that big of a deal right this second doesn't mean that it's not going to have really harmful effects going forward. And also we shouldn't be apologizing for saying, oh, well, it's not that big of a deal, as if there aren't 80 million other people that we can pull into this position. He's not the only person that exists in Maine. My God.
Like Clinton, we knew before the 92 election. We knew Jennifer Flowers. We knew. And we did it anyway, knowing that was going to be a liability. And it did blow up. And it did cost us immensely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, can we not get people like Barack Obama? We managed to do good, right? What were the scandals?
None.
What were none? None.
A brown suit, a tan suit. That's it.
Yeah, fake news about where he was born. They literally had to try to create fake things. They're like, oh, he's not from here. That was their fake narrative. They didn't have anything.
I missed one bad salute, one time with a coffee cup, and that was huge.
Is it? I need you. I understand what Adam was saying, and that may be very well the case that this man wins and whatever. But what I need from people is to just not say anything. You could just not say that. You could just let him go on to win or whatever, but don't get in there and try to tell people like me or Milena or Chris or whoever that what we're pointing out isn't valid, that somehow it's okay because other people have engaged in things, other people have raped women. We have a guy who talked about grabbing women by their pussy and he's the president. So obviously it doesn't matter. I mean, clearly it does because this man wants to put up a giant spider in front of the White House. This is not there's a lot going on here that's not great. So it all correlates. Let's just maybe not apologize for him. He's a grown-ass man. Let him do his own apologizing. Actually, he was on, I guess he's on with Chris Hayes, right? Or he was earlier tonight.
He was on. Yeah. He basically just denied everything he's been doing. I mean, he didn't really accept responsibility for anything. And he also minimized what some of the accusers were saying. One of the accusers, so I guess there's 3 in this article. One of them is a conservative. And so he was basically trying to paint her as being vindictive or
she's a Republican, so she's doing this for partisan reasons. Yeah,
exactly. So
and she said that she's like, people are gonna say it's because I'm a Republican, but
she said she would go after a Republican if it was she would come forward if it was a Republican. So shall we move on to California? There, we have our own.
Please.
We have our own.
I guess. Okay.
I want to play a clip for you.
Happy like the Knicks.
Where is this?
You get out of here with that.
You guys. Okay. So,
go New York, go New York, go New York, go.
Oh no.
So before, I think it was a couple days before Election Day, this aired, and I thought it was funny.
Clearly, there are a lot of Democrats, and we see this in the PPIC poll, have held on to their ballots because they weren't sure about whether or not they're going to be locked out of the top two. Remember, that was the narrative for such a long time. When we talked about it, the media talked about it, the possibility of 2 Republicans finishing 1 and 2 because there were 8 Democrats running could split up the vote. Well, a lot of Democrats still believe that. The party no longer believes that. Rusty Hicks, the chair of the California Democratic Party, says, no, we will have a Democrat in the top 2. But a lot of Democrats were waiting to see who they should vote for to make sure they had somebody in that top 2. And this is the guy that they went to, Xavier Becerra. Keep in mind, it was just over 2 months ago. He was polling so poorly that he was not going to be included in the USC debate. Now, Tom Steyer is the guy who's closest to him. Remember, Steyer's not trying to catch Becerra. He's actually trying to catch Steve Hilton, the Republican.
Which was awfully funny because he was running a lot of his ads were not about Hilton; they were about Becerra.
He's 5 points behind. He's hoping to get in the number 2 slot so he can go mano a mano with Becerra in the fall. I understand Tom Steyer has 2 more hit pieces out today attacking Xavier Becerra. I think it's too late. He should save his money.
I thought that was like chef's kiss. This man spent over $200 million. More than this is not totally up to date because I posted this about a week or so before. So it's over the 200 million mark to come in third, not even a close third, to come in third. And he spent over 3 times more than all of these other candidates combined. And he got these crazy ass endorsements from, from this guy, for
Robert
example.
Reich. Yeah.
Robert Reich endorsed him. And, this is Mr. Anti-Billionaire. And today he posted, giving billionaires and corporations a green light to buy our elections, making it easier for polluters to destroy them. What?
And below every one of his posts from that point forward has just been, aren't you the anti-billionaire guy? Didn't you just not, endorse Steyer? He completely ruined his entire reputation of all the good he's done over his entire career with that endorsement, which is crazy work.
Honestly, all of the people that endorsed him, I don't know. Like, I don't know. I mean, Jane Fonda, love her.
Her organization.
I was really disappointed.
Her organization got $350,000 donation from Steyer before or something like that. So that makes it even worse. It makes it seem like, did she just sell out for a donation? It was really cringy to me.
It was Marco Ruffalo too. And again, I'm not somebody who I don't fangirl. I really don't about politicians or celebrities or whatever. But I will say that there are a few people who have consistently been on the correct side, I feel like, and that you can look to have a platform that they use responsibly. And I felt like they all got ratioed to hell on Threads. And that's also I've never seen Mark Ruffalo
I think they got damaged. I think their reputation is damaged because the thing is, all of them just said a very cursory, he's good for the environment. Yeah, and that's pretty much why Jane Fonda, she's an environmentalist. I give her that. But you can't look at just that piece. You cannot, this is a man, he really has no government experience. And I had said from the very beginning, we've done this experiment. We've had billionaires, businessmen think they can run a government, and I'm over it. Can we not do that anymore? But then the fact of how did he make his millions? The millions that he's using to fight these other candidates, mainly Becerra, but he made that money, private prisons and fossil fuels. Yes, he said he was sorry. Yes, he learned his lesson. Take that $200 million and start foundations for second chances for, former incarcerated individuals. To me, if you were on board with private prisons, that was never okay.
And one of those private prisons was CoreCivic, where people are being tortured in these detention facilities, immigration detention facilities.
I've never understood this. You're going in for heart surgery. Do you want somebody that has 30 years experience as a heart surgeon, or do you want a rich guy that just went, hey, I think I'd like to operate on a heart today?
Isn't that what I said? I said that in my post. I was like, if y'all keep electing former reality stars and people with no government experience, I'm going to show up for your next elective surgery, and I'm going to be the one doing it. Because obviously you don't have a problem with people who are unqualified coming in and fucking around with your internal organs. My God,
And what really pissed me off about Tom Steyer was all of his negative ads dirtying up Becerra. With a lot of it was lies and manipulation of the truth. And a lot of people believe this. And he's still got to run a general, okay? And Steyer wasn't even close. He didn't go after Hilton, that was who he was right behind. Not one bit. I don't think he ran one ad against him. It was all against Becerra. And if you look at Becerra's record, protecting the environment, protecting undocumented students, protecting DACA recipients, protecting teachers and veterans and reproductive health.
Donald Trump more than anyone else.
And went after Donald Trump again and again, and went after oil companies. But these people now, they're just poisoned against him because of what Steyer's ad insinuated, that he was being bought. And I just thought they were just so dirty. It really soured me so much to Steyer, who was my second choice after Becerra. But then by the time this campaign was over, I'm like, I really have to hold my nose.
Yeah, and I would rather. You know how I feel about Katie Porter, but I would have rather had her than Steyer at that point.
Yes.
I wasn't paying attention to him when he ran for president, and I'm in Pennsylvania, not California. So I only just learned about the hand doodle like a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
And that alone gives me the ick. You're a grown ass man and you need to write something on your hand to remember not to lie. I'm not loving that.
No.
Meanwhile, how about, see, you California folks, right? How are we feeling about the jungle primary now?
Oh, I have not. First of all, that is why I was in a total panic, because we had, this doesn't really show it, but when we first realized we had Steve Hilton and Chad Bianco, the white supremacists, in the 1 and 2 spot for a very long time. That was back when Swalwell was still in the race. And so I was concerned also because why isn't Swalwell running away with this? So that already gave me, pause before the sexual assault allegations were known. So, and the fact that we also have a law where once you have filed the proper paperwork and been approved, you are on that ballot regardless. So even if so Swalwell was still on the ballot and he got
20,000 votes.
So
didn't you guys have 60 candidates?
61.
And this is why,
you only need 60 signatures.
Not even in alphabetical order. When I got the ballot, I was looking for, I knew I was going to vote for Becerra. I was looking for, B. No, not there. I was looking for X, Javier, not there either. It is in random order.
Random.
So that may be okay if you have 6 candidates on the ballot, but with 61, I had to look for him 3 times.
You even had Barack Obama on the ballot.
It was Barack Obama Shaw.
Barack D. Obama.
And living Forgotten Country Jamaat. You got a lot more votes than you would think. But here's the other thing.
At least Maine has ranked choice voting. That's the thing. It's at least in their situation, they at least have ranked choice voting. What are y'all doing without that?
So
in my congressional district, there's not going to be a Democrat on the November ballot.
Crazy.
There were 6 Democrats. They were too arrogant to withdraw. And the one of them had 15-16%, but at one point it was polling at 20 and very close to catching, but the people just wouldn't drop out. So now we get 2 Republicans, Young Kim and Ken Calvert, repulsive Republicans on our ballot. So, that's
cigar-filled
my
back rooms, people. I'm telling you, I'm bringing them back.
I'm moving to California in 4 years and going to run for governor. They'll get five signatures. And,
I'll vote for you.
There we go.
Yeah, it only costs less than $2,000 and 60 signatures. So that's all it takes. That's why there's 61 people I'm going to be famous. I want to see my name on the ballot. Every Californian's going to see my name.
The amount of people, I have given Katie Porter a lot of hate, and I will keep doing that because I feel like it is warranted. I also hold it for anybody that stage, when you're that deep into a primary season and it's very clear that you are not going to have a magical win. even if it's a week before, right? Like, even if something had happened to Becerra at that point, Katie Porter wasn't going to just eclipse everybody and somehow rush to the front of that line. Like, it was just done for her.
It was very
And
clear she was not. She had no.
She
path.
needed.
Yeah.
She has, because people ask me where I didn't really speak about her prior to this because I was just kind of letting it play out. I was doing a lot of the opposition work, but I eventually did speak out on Steyer because of all the problems I saw. With Katie Porter, I just sort of let it ride. When I said the night of, like, I was, because we saw sort of what was happening and where all the percentages were falling out. And I said something about her dignity being worth less than 5%. And people were like, oh, like, I don't understand. Like, why do you not like her? And I said, because historically she has proven to be selfish. And this is just another example where, like, when she didn't win the Senate primary and she came out and she said a bunch of really harmful, hateful things. Yeah. And it doesn't embody someone that is doing this, like, she's kind of showing the same, she's showing the same kind of entitlement. I'll show that I was talking about with Plattner. So here I am giving it to a woman as well. Like, right. It's that same sort of, I know what I'm doing is right. So therefore I can say and do whatever I want and not be receptive to constructive criticism and feedback. And I think that is such a problem for everybody in the Democratic Party right now to say, I don't have to hear your criticism and feedback is so detrimental. Like, first of all, you should always be, it doesn't mean you have to change everything, but you should at least hear critical feedback and try to decide and sit with your people and have these conversations. And here she was very clearly not going to win. And unlike other people, this is a woman that has tried to create this very clear political career and pathway. Like, she has aspirations of being in politics. She's not there just to disrupt, right? Like, she's there because she wants to be in politics. And I felt like she did not do a service to her career at all by doing that. And that's my feelings on Katie Porter. But I feel like ranked choice voting might have actually helped her a little bit so
I'm an OC and she was like in the district right next to mine. And then she was representing my parents in their district. And I volunteered for her again and again. And I volunteered for her for a whole summer. And that whole nasty reputation that she got isn't just people bashing on women. She's just not that great a person. Did I tell you guys about the Katie points? You have to get a certain amount of Katie points to get a picture with her. I've never seen this from a candidate.
What?
I have never seen this from a candidate.
You're gonna have to explain that.
Earn hats. Wow. You can earn a magnet. You could, but you have to knock on doors for her. People were knocking on doors in the hot sun and the rain for her.
I would be
but
like,
she wouldn't take a picture. She
seriously
wouldn't take a picture until you got 200 Katie points. Okay, that's just gross.
Gross.
All right.
I'm horrified. That's awful.
It was shocking.
Why have I never heard that?
Was she like a Starbucks? What the hell is that?
And then like she would give this, like, like the candidates will come. They don't. Some candidates will come every time and they'll go and they'll walk with people and they're like fight. But she would pull up in her Civic. And like right in front, they left a spot for her. They coned it off like a celebrity, come in for like 5-10 minutes, give her speech, and then drive away. But when she gave her speech, it was like an Amway speech, like telling us exactly what to say. Like it's all about the ask. It's all about the ask. And I was just like so grossed out by that, but I wanted her to win that district. And then by the way, she like pushed Harley Ruda out of that seat. And then because she was such a big name, Michelle Steele went to CA 45, which is the Fountain Valley area. And there was a great candidate out there, Jay Chen, and he got really, really hammered by Michelle Steele. She ended up messing over 3 congressional districts by her selfishness. And then 5 days after she gets sworn in for that new Huntington Beach seat, what does she do? CA 47? She says that she's going to run for Senate. So a lot of people were like, I worked for you. I did all that volunteering. I did all those phone calls for you. And then
I got all my Katie points.
I got my
I got my Katie points.
What's the second prize? Do you get a koozie? Like, what's the next thing?
You got a T-shirt.
Like, what?
You got a T-shirt.
Come on, a set of steak knives. Have you ever seen Glengarry Glen Ross?
Go run and get the hat. I'm gonna run and get the hat.
Michelle's like, oh my god, she's starting her. Oh my god, I can't believe this. I'm really having a hard time with this because like that's just Anyway, whatever. Okay, like.
I'm just telling you. So I posted this the other day because we are so unserious. Like I love.
This is the dumbest timeline.
It really is.
But what are we doing? There's so many people writing for Pratt, and he's not going to win. Thank God. He might come in. He might come in third, but right now he's positioned to be on the ballot. We're so slow. I apologize, everybody, that California is so slow in counting ballots, but it's because so many people vote by mail. That is the reason, and they have to be counted.
And that's
great
because it means that he might end up in third place.
People
thank God.
love crystals. It's all about crystals.
Millions of dollars.
Like, do they spend $1 million on crystals and then lose it? I mean, and then both.
Okay.
So I want to show you.
guys have a literal Pratt on the ballot. I mean,
Oh
it's
God. That hat with him that had the LA in the middle of it, so it was flat. Like that's what it looked like his name was. It's still like my favorite video. Like,
I have my crystals.
So this is
how many points for that did you need for that, Milena?
yeah. How
No,
much was that?
this one was a present. This one was a present.
Oh, okay.
What was the hat?
Pratt points.
The hat was from Katie Points. I don't know how many, maybe 50. And then I got a T-shirt too, but I gave that one away because I wasn't going to wear a Katie.
That's not. I would have won at least a cropped hoodie. That's not enough. I don't know.
So Spencer Pratt, there was a hit and run in 2003. So he hit someone and left him on the side of the road and left. This has been missing. And a friend of mine worked with me. We uncovered it, or he uncovered it and gave it to me. So this is, if you want to look it up, you can go to the Superior Court and put in, where is she here? You can put in this case number and it has his name right there. So Malibu Courthouse closed down, and his mugshot I could not get because that was destroyed, but the records were transferred to the airport court here in Los Angeles. And so I did get a copy of his of the court case, but it says it was a hit and run. It was misdemeanor, and it was dropped. The case was dropped after a plea deal, and he pled guilty to other vehicle offenses. I want to play this video for y'all. Hold on.
Actively hiding a criminal past where he abandoned a bleeding victim at a crime scene, and so much worse, his weapon.
I just want to say, so I posted the case number a couple of days before this, and then people were like, where did you get that? I've been looking. Like, those are the kind of DMs I got. And then I saw this podcast.
Organized cruelty directly contributed to a death of a beloved Palisades resident. Let's look at what happened in Malibu back in 2003. When Spencer was 19 years old, an adult, according to the actual court records, a human being was severely injured in a wreck. He caused this wreck, a massive car crash, by tailgating another driver. Totally preventable. So the normal empathetic reaction when you hurt somebody is to stop and call for help. What did Spencer do? He drove away. He completely abandoned the crime scene and left an injured person on the side of the road to save his own skin. They had to issue a bench warrant for his arrest just to force him to show up. And when he finally ran out of options, he cut a plea deal to drop the hit and run count. His total punishment for leaving an injured person on the asphalt was a $100 fine. As bad as that cover-up is, it pales in comparison to what happened more recently. Because once you understand the next part, the original explanation of his campaign becomes almost impossible to believe. Larry Vane was a 61-year-old community advocate. Larry dedicated his life to keeping the traumatized Pacific Palisades community connected. People whose homes were reduced to rubble.
So I want to also jump in and say that Spencer Pratt claims to love the Palisades. He claims to be fighting for Palisades fire victims.
People who had to leave screaming by foot, carrying babies and children, abandoning their cars. They had seconds, many of these people, and a lot of people just had to watch it all go down from a Ring camera. Larry founded the Pali Strong Foundation specifically to support with community aid, to get resources to survivors. He was the one trying to hold the neighborhood together. So when Larry's organization received a disaster recovery grant, Spencer got a little jealous. And he got so jealous and became such a maniac that he was like, okay, I'm going to destroy you. And he took this as an opportunity not to lift up fellow community members and help with mutual aid. No, he saw this as an opportunity to manufacture outrage. And he aimed his massive digital platform, mobilized his base, and pointed them directly at Larry. And he launched a relentless cyberbullying campaign.
This is factual because it's on. You can check his social media. There's evidence on on Instagram and all of that of the bullying, and it's well known.
Spencer publicly branded Larry as deranged and a paid puppet simply because Larry presented a community award to Mayor Bass. So the emotional pressure from that targeted harassment broke him. In late April of this year, Larry tragically died by suicide. Following his death, Larry's own brother came forward and explicitly stated that Spencer Pratt brutalized Larry online. The weight of that harassment was unbearable, which directly contributed to the death of a person who was actually trying to help.
So that's the kind of man he is. And I just, I don't understand how anybody votes for him. I get it. You may not be a fan of Karen Bass, but he's not the answer. And also, can we please have some, can you be experienced maybe? Just any experience. This man's never even held a job, like a real job. And we want him to be mayor of the second largest city in the United States and run our economy. Well, LA has problems. I'm not saying we don't. I love living here. LA has problems, but get an experienced candidate.
It's not only that, it's that this man, the reason people know him is for a reality show. Where he acted like an idiot. Like, there is so much footage. Why they didn't use this footage to show people who he really, I don't understand. There's so much footage of that. Whereas at least with Donald Trump, I'm not happy he's here, but he had a quote career, because before the internet existed, people could be persuaded of that, right? Before all of the cameras were around, he persuaded people that he wasn't just a nepo baby, he had a career. We know that that's fake, but there weren't cameras there to capture it. This guy came of age in the era of the internet, and that's the only reason that he was known. He wasn't, he's a nepo baby, but he's a nepo baby that was just a nepo baby for doing nothing, for acting like an idiot on this reality show that now when we look back on it is somehow even cringier than it was at the time. So there's really no excuse for this at all. I'm looking at you, David Foster. What the hell? Oh my God.
You want to hear a crazy coincidence? My daughter actually edited that video. That's her boss.
No way.
Yeah. I'm like, whoa. Yeah, she did. That's a weird.
So that's a 20-minute video. I edited it down to under 3 because of Blue Sky and all the others. But yeah, it's all there, and
it's all online for you just to see. It's just, or every time he opens his mouth. I mean, there's also that. You also have that. Every time this man speaks, he doesn't have a plan. He's doing the same thing as Donald Trump. He's deflecting when people are oh, well, how are you going to pay for that facility that you think all the unhoused people should go be at? And then it's some excuse to talk about something else. This is what our president has done, and look at what our country is looking like right now. Why are these people who have money in LA thinking that it won't affect them somehow their money is so much that it won't matter? What?
So, and we knew going into this that no candidate was going to get over 50%. And so when that happens for LA mayor, there's a runoff. So there's going to be a runoff. Karen Bass is the projected winner. And I'm going to tell y'all, she has never lost an election ever in her history. So you may not like her, whatever, but
why
LA
is
not an
as
easy
somebody
city.
who's not from LA, why is she hated? I know that there's some questions about unhoused people. People don't like unhoused people.
I think we do have an unhoused problem here, but it's not just LA City. For example, there's areas in LA County that are not part of the city. It's a problem. I mean, it's definitely a problem, but she is getting people off the streets, but there's such a huge number here. And it didn't just start with her, that it takes time. I know that sounds like an excuse, but it's a fact. I don't know if I should say this, but my son works in government. I won't say where, but he is one thing they are doing, because if you in certain streets, there's a lot of campers. A lot of them do not work. People are living in campers. What they are doing is they are offering people housing. They're taking them out of the campers, and they are destroying the campers. You cannot bring back a camper. We're giving you housing. There are programs here, but it's just really, really tough. And I will make one other point. How can I put this? If you're unhoused, wouldn't you rather be in LA in January than in Minnesota?
Exactly.
I went to Canada and I was in Vancouver. They have a pretty healthy unhoused population. And I was like, oh God, you guys have a lot of unhoused here. And they were like, because we're the warmest city in Canada. So they're not going to be in Montreal. They're going to be in Vancouver. So this is just one of the things we have to contend with. But it has to be a holistic solution. It has to be housing. It has to be, if you listen to Spencer Pratt, he acts like they're all drug addicts and animal abusers. That is so untrue. We do need services, mental health services, which it's incredibly stressful to be unhoused. We have to address, how are you counting the unhoused? Are you counting the ones that are literally on the streets? Are you counting the people that are maybe on somebody's sofa? Because and there's a large number of people that are working. So don't assume that if you're unhoused, you're just a drug addict and you are a freeloader or whatever. A lot of them work and they just can't afford it. So they're priced out of the market and they're living on people's sofas. They're living in their cars. We
have that problem here in DC.
The majority
New York City has it too.
The majority of our
Pratt will not solve that problem.
Are women over 40 years old. My mom used to be an executive director of a homeless shelter, and a lot of people are from out of the state. And there was a study that was done of the unhoused in Venice Beach. Over half of the people that are unhoused in Venice Beach are not even from California. And there are actually a lot of stories of governors and cities sending their unhoused on buses to California. And my mom had people in her shelter who said that they were sent on a bus to California because they're like, oh, let's screw over California. And also let's get rid of our homeless population. And they were given money in addition to a bus ticket to come to California. So, and that to me is also incredibly cruel. You're taking people out of their community, away from their families, away from the people that they know. But there are a lot of people who the housing is very expensive in California and food is very expensive. There's so much that's very expensive in California. And it's a difficult situation because we're already very developed in California. It's not like there's a lot of space for new development. So the problem is very complicated. It's not something that you could just, like some reality TV star is going to just snap his fingers and solve our housing problems. And then people are also mad at Karen Bass about the fires too. They somehow believe the Republicans kind of try to pin the entire fire all on her, like it was all her fault that there wasn't enough water and things like that.
So first of all, Altadena is not LA City. A lot of people lost homes. There are more people of color in Altadena. It hasn't gotten nearly as much attention as the Palisades. So, I don't know. I thought this post was great. It was like what we've been talking about. I thought it covered a lot of points. The same people who supported Tom Steyer support Graham Plattner. The same people who cried about being too scared to support Jasmine Crockett over Tellerico will enable Ken Paxton. And that doesn't mean they're voting for him. That means they're actually helping him, win by default here. The same people who say we have moved beyond identity politics, enabled racial gerrymandering, the same people who abandon trans rights, human rights, are the same people that are enabling the Epstein class. They are all agents of chaos. Casey found this, and I just thought it was such a great post. Casey, well, can I share some? I want to share some good news with you, and then Casey has a post that she wants to share. So let's listen to this, because I thought this was, we've been talking about states kind of being left out of the picture when it comes to funding, when it comes out to, the party trying to, help candidates win races. So I found this today, and I think it made me feel a lot better.
Democrats are so bullish about their chances of taking back the House, they're now eyeing red districts in rural America. The campaign arm of the House Democrats added 4 candidates to the red to blue target list, bringing the total number of people getting a boost in resources to 24 across 15 different states. The party only needs to flip 3 seats to win back control of the House. The 4 new additions on the red to blue target list are California's 48th district, Florida's 7th, Nebraska's 2nd, and New Jersey's 7th. Not everybody's going to understand the implications of this. What does this tell you about the current political environment that Democrats are now boosting resources in all those different places?
Democrats see what I think.
To be clear, the DCCC is putting money into these races.
Right.
A lot of times that's missing especially when it's seen as like a red district.
A lot of voters are seeing, which is that, voters across the country are really hurting right now under Trump's policies. And that makes a lot of places that people tend to write off a lot more vulnerable. They're looking at rural districts and they're saying the concerns of the voters in those places are the same as the concerns across the country. People are talking about rising costs. They're talking about being tired of the corruption. And if Democrats can make strong cases in those places, there's no reason to sort of say, well, there are some districts that are just red or Democrats can't play well in rural districts. I think what people are finally waking up to is that voters across the country are talking about the same issues, and there's no reason for Democrats to assume we can't win in certain parts of this country.
A spokesperson for the National Republican Congressional Committee told Roll Call that the idea that rural voters would swing towards the Democrats is, quote, pure political hallucination. How do you see it?
Well, of course, the Republicans are going to say that because they're under threat. And if by acknowledging that Democrats have an opportunity in these districts would acknowledge that they have a political problem, Republicans do. You look at what's happening with the Iran war, with fertilizer. Farmers in Iowa can't plant their plants because they can't get their fertilizer. These are all things that are tangible issues that are hurting people in red districts. And then on top of that, you have the big betrayal bill where you cut Medicaid and access to rural hospitals. These are things that people need to put blame. Negative partisanship works. So you need to narrative set as soon as possible so that Democrats can say, listen, it was Republicans who did this to you. It's Republicans who are enabling Donald Trump, whose priorities are everywhere other than improving your life. He's betrayed you and he has betrayed his campaign promises to you. We are going to be the party of adults in the room that are going to get this back on track. Huge opening for Democrats.
I mean, that's good news. Any thoughts on that? I'm just really excited about that, and I that has been what's needed for a long time. So I'm really happy about that. So Casey.
So we are starting. We'll officially start it next week. We'll start it next week. I think we should have a segment at the end, in addition to our call to action, where all of us pick one thing, and we don't necessarily have to have a visual, but like just one thing that you thought was like really smart or really good or like whatever, like your like thing to end the segment on. And I would just like to give a shout out to Hunter Biden and his messaging on X. And they're trying to pull him into Threads, and I really hope he goes there because Threads pushes out to Facebook and Instagram in their ads that they will try to get you to cross-platform. Not like the you don't put it there. I mean, you can, but I'm saying like Instagram or Facebook will just put your work there, and then they'll try to entice people to come into the Threads app. So I think that there's a lot of people that Hunter Biden could actually move that are like, Republican based, because his comments are just unapologetic. And if I could just make in addition to watching the joy of watching him troll like Republicans, which is really fun to watch on X. I would also like to say that the Democrats are missing a messaging strategy that is authentic. And part of what is so good about what Hunter Biden is doing is that it's not an act. Like, this is who he is. This is who he, and by the way, this is how what a lot of us are right now, right? Like, this is how a lot of us feel. And it's relatable. And so when the Democrats are trying to find a messaging strategy using somebody or they're going to have to hire people that have the same kind of unapologetic enthusiasm for overcoming fascism because they're so fucking tired of all of this. Because that's why this messaging works and plays with people, is because like, yeah, it's funny, but it's also like what we all feel, and or most of us feel. If you like Stephen Miller, please unfollow me right now. Like I don't want you in my world. Okay. So anyway, I think, go take a look. If you have a Threads, an X account still, maybe go take a peek over there, or on Threads. I think a lot of people are sharing the screenshots, maybe even on Blue Sky too. So you can see some of his work. And that is it was today. He's been there for a while, but I mean, like he's been on a tweeting spree, I guess is what
I
we call
particularly liked his stolen election one.
Yeah. And the drugs one too, which is like kind of what I think started a lot of it, right? Like
I wouldn't have left my drugs.
I would definitely have taken one. And then also like when people started like talking about the coke, he's like, nah, man, like I smoke crack. Like I didn't even F with the good stuff. Like
I don't mess with that.
Down there, and it's just like you cannot troll this man because he's very honest about who he is and his past. And I think when you have truth on your side, it is very difficult to troll you in that way. And this is what the Democrats have truth on their side. This is why I'm like this. It's kind of like the main seat, why we were so frustrated with that. This is your election to lose, right? Like this is your time where you have all the momentum in the world to actually make change and to come up with a plan for what to do when you do get that power to reverse all of this madness. And it sometimes feels like that's a little squandered. And I feel like this is what we need, this kind of enthusiasm moving forward.
So we're gonna, first of all, I love this idea. We're going to have our favorite of the week. Is that what we're doing? Our favorite of the week.
I think we can just do a favorite of the week. I think that we talk so much badness during the week.
So our favorite of the week, and we can share. I mean, it might be a post, it might be a news story, whatever, or we could just talk about it, right? So everybody,
it could just be something we already talked about too. If it was something we already talked about, you can just say, shout out. I really feel like I love what, so-and-so, we didn't really hit anything positive today, but like whatever we said that was positive, you could just say like, I really feel.
You know what? It gets drowned out. So it's good to highlight the good.
Can I give mine real quick? Because mine was that Becerra speech. Like that Becerra, if you haven't seen it, go look at the YouTube. Go look at the YouTube video of it, because a lot of people will be surprised. They didn't know who Javier Becerra is. They got all of their information about it from Tom Steyer's ads. But it was so authentic, and the way that he was like loving on his family and on California. California rocks. And there's so many people that tear it down and just buy into the bullshit from the GOP about how bad California is. California rocks, and I was really happy to see someone finally
defend so bad, people wouldn't be wanting to live here. And unfortunately, that's why it's so expensive, because the demand in housing is crazy. So
right. And I feel the same way, Milena. I really I had good vibes about him going in. So I'm happy that people are going to start to see it. Like I think that he's a good guy. Like just because people
he's
like we saw
a good man for sure.
I think Biden's like that, right? Like it's like it doesn't mean that they're not problematic and they don't necessarily make mistakes, but like I want someone like that in leadership right now, because yes. Mm-hmm.
We need decent.
Yes, please.
All right, y'all. Well, we covered a lot.
Oh, we didn't do the call to action. So what is the call to action? For volunteer. There you go.
I would say, help candidates, like help. I don't know. I think that video where they're talking about red states, maybe if you are interested, I know how we feel about donating money these days, but go to those districts,
adopt a district,
donate to those candidates that are actually fighting to turn a district blue. I think that could be, give them $10 or whatever,
And amplify the candidates, amplify them. Like anytime you see them post, amplify them.
Yeah.
And all of the local elections as well. See, we don't have that in Virginia. We are off here. But for those that are like, the state and doing all kinds of that kind of stuff, that matters. If you talk to just one or two people in your circle of friends and you highlight a candidate or an issue or something, that would be super great. Like everybody just needs to sort of be bringing people into the fold about what's going on, because everybody's pretty apathetic and tired right now, which is like so not as tired as him.
I just thought we could end on a funny note. That's all.
As tired as him.
It's time to go to bed, everybody.
Middle of the day.
That's about the most obvious, like where he's doing this, maybe he's resting his eyes.
Yeah.
with
No,
that
this
one.
is
Unless he's passed out, that dude's asleep.
he just needs an episode of Jeopardy, and that's it. Like that's like seriously like my grandfather, like in the lounger after a day of work, and I can't
Wheel
understand.
of Fortune. He's not
Yes.
going to watch. He's a Wheel of
Yeah.
Fortune.
You're right. So,
He ain't watching
so
Jeopardy.
valid. So valid. Yeah. Okay. So anyway, share those kinds of things. Share the images. Share the memes with your friends. Like send that out in a group text chat. Like whatever. Like just try to keep people invested, because it's gonna be a long midterm process. Everybody's really tired, and that's okay for people to take breaks. But just check in with people that aren't as involved that you need to get involved, because we need their help.
Amazing. All right, everyone. Thank you. See you next Thursday.
Good night.